Welcome, everybody. This is another episode of Top Rope Talk. We are still on the road to WrestleMania, and we are to keep you along that road, to keep that train going. I am Denzel Snipes. This is the sports agent himself. He's Sean the Numbers Don, Sean Russey. And before we get started, just want to let everybody know to follow us on all of our socials. We on Facebook, X, Instagram, and also on TikTok as well. Also check us out on our website, sideline-se.com, for all the latest articles, the latest news, event coverage, you name it. Our great photography from our awesome photographers, Will Peralta and John Shear, and so much more. That's sideline-se.com. All right, so we're about 20 minutes away from Raw, and a bit of a review not a whole review from Smackdown last week, but what happened in the final segment here. So Randy Orton's, in my honest opinion, Randy Orton's assault on Matt Cardona while getting cheered, and not to mention when he came out there, he was high-fiving, he still was, fist bumping little kids and everything. This proves this wasn't a true heel turn. Or is there something I'm missing? Are the fans going to finally turn on Cody Rhodes? Have they grown tired of him? I mean, is it more of that, or do they really want to see Randy Orton win number 15? What's going on, Sean?
What's going on, man? I mean, so it's tough, right? Because, personally, I'm not a huge Cardona fan. Not that he's not good in the ring or anything like that. I just can see where the crowd's like, yeah, it's okay for Randy to take him out. Obviously, the Cody thing, we can just circle back to last year where Cena got cheered at Mania. Really even... other than the heel turn kind of going sour for Cena, Cody garnered most of the boos throughout that rivalry. So I think it's time for Cody to go back to chasing a little bit, probably take it off of him for a year or so, and then take it from there with a rebuilt character. Probably need some time off after Mania as well. I don't think we're going to get an immediate rematch. The biggest thing in my mind is, where does that leave us in terms of Randy making these phone calls? Is it Shane McMahon? Is it The Rock? Obviously it's got to be someone with family ties to wrestling. So it'll be interesting to see who he brings out from these phone calls.
Absolutely. And with something like this, right? Because the guessing game has already begun. I'm actually switching locations. Bear with me for a second. So with something like this, people are probably... Isn't it funny how they've already they've all but guessed that it's a McMahon?
Yeah, I could see it going one of two ways. Like if The Rock is not available and I'm going to say this is for Mania 43, because there's been rumors that they've already been trying to make offers to him to be at the Saudi WrestleMania. There's obviously a clear circle that needs to be closed with him and Cody. But if it's like Shane McMahon, I think it's like a one-off at SummerSlam. But it would be interesting regardless, because I think that also means we're probably an inch closer to seeing Vince back in some role.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if anyone is ready for that. But, I mean, if it's going to happen, in my honest opinion. But then again, also with all of the stuff that's going on with them, I think they're still trying to keep them as far away from the Federation as possible. The Federation, the company.
Yeah, I think it would be some small, consulting title where he's not actually involved, but he can, make an appearance here and there. Because and we won't get too far off, but it was interesting. They said that Triple H and Stephanie voted, as part of the group that voted him out when all that came up. So, you never know what the power struggles are behind the scenes, or if they were just truly doing it out of, concern for the company and their father.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll move on to our next topic here, and that is our Raw preview for the night. So we've got Penta Mysterio 2 for the championship, and then the Vision versus the Usos. Looks like we're going to get a bit of a WrestleMania preview for that second one. But your thoughts on these two particular matches?
So this is tough because I think if Braun is healthy, the Vision versus the Usos is kind of going to be a rematch here, and this won't get a finish here tonight. Now, if Braun's not healthy, I could see where the Usos go over, and then Logan Paul gets split off to face Seth Rollins at Mania. In terms of Penta and Dom, I wonder if this is where we start seeing teases, like you said, the arena goes black. Maybe there's a flash of red or like the demon heartbeat real quick, and it cost Mysterio the match here. Unless they really want the match at Mania between Balor and Mysterio to be for a title, it would be a real shame to take the title off Penta this quickly, though.
It really, yeah, it would, because it's like, well, if the intention all along was for Finn Balor to challenge for and win the IC championship from Rey Mysterio, then why cough it up to Penta? See, at this point, you're playing hot potato with the championship. Even though I would like to see Finn, but then again, maybe the ultimate goal for him isn't the IC title. Maybe it's the world title someday. Now, with that, I will also say that have to be a title line. Don't forget, not Rey Mysterio. Dom Mysterio is also the AAA Mega Champion. That belt could very well be on the line at WrestleMania against Finn Balor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they have to, if they do that, or if they kind of make Dom do double duty and defend it against a true luchador on Saturday, and have the Finn Balor match on Sunday, and he loses both championships in one weekend.
Yeah, that would be true. Hey, so I'm going to run a commercial real fast, and we'll be right back with more Top Rope Talk. You all.
Sideline Sports live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Not a great league, the American League. The National League is far and away better.
I know we have those 4 games.
All right, Joe, I'm going to stop you there. The Orioles haven't gotten to the World Series.
No, I'm just saying.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay. Did that commercial play all the way through? I had to leave and come right back.
Stopped. No, it stopped on John.
Oh, okay. Oops. Okay. From now on, I'm streaming right here in this device. All right. So we'll go on. We can get a full commercial break here. We're going to go on to Sean. Please enter the ball. So, how about it? Let's get it started with a classic from WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, especially since we're in WrestleMania season, and this is really the match. I know Austin 316 was starting to heat up, but this is really the match that put Stone Cold on the map. The blood dripping down his face and just refusing to tap out. Honestly, I would have preferred to see that from Cena, not necessarily the blood visual, but just the refusal to tap out to Gunther, and just send him off that way. But I think obviously Austin's refusal to tap out really played into his epic character, and it played really well as his character developed. And then obviously the next year we saw him against Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, so this was known as the match that kind of put Austin on the map, even though their first encounter at Survivor Series 96 was a pretty damn good match. Yes, I would have liked to have seen the same out of Cena during this final match if he was going to go out like that. But as far as Stone Cold goes, and you know what, it's really funny because right after this, that is when Brett turned into a you-know-what. I think what they wanted to do was they wanted to start the train rolling on Bret the Hitman Hart becoming a heel and Austin becoming a face. Now, we brought up Randy Orton and if his heel turn was a real heel turn. And I ask you, was that a true Bret Hart heel turn that year? Especially given because at the time period, there was no such thing as an anti-hero. Austin's kind of regarded the first anti-hero, if you think about it. Kind of the first tweener. I'd have to think back further and see what that's all about, but I'm pretty sure it was Austin. But check this out. Bret the Hitman Hart would do shows in the United States and he would disparage the American fans. When he go to Canada, he get hailed as a hero. So, I mean, I'm talking about standing loud and proud, saying the Canadian national anthem and everything. Was that really a true Bret Hart heel turn, in your opinion?
I kind of compare it to when Kevin Owens is a heel, right? Because you can't put Owens in Canada and not have him get cheered. So I compare it to that, where Bret Hart heel or face is getting cheered in Canada. I think really they were forced, because going into that match, as much as he was kind of leaning, Austin was more of the heel going into that match, and the way that match progressed and the beating Hart had to put on him, they kind of had to do the double switch, and it kind of happened organically, and they were like, okay, let's just go with it. And I think they kind of fell into the anti-hero thing, thanks to other things that were going on. And Austin just fit that role though perfectly, especially just black trunks, black boots, done. Short quips on the mic, always against the boss. So I think, that everything rolled right in, but they went with it versus what we're seeing now, which they could do, I guess, right? You could do a double switch back at Mania if you really want to swerve everybody, and let's just say it's The Rock, and The Rock is actually on Cody's side, and he comes and slams Orton, and you do the double switch. But it's something, I think it's the same territory Cena was in. The older fans don't love it, but you can't move the top merch mover off to the heel side at this moment, given the current status of everybody else that's a face.
That's true. And not to mention, as far as your Rock take just now, didn't The Rock say 2 years ago, the night after WrestleMania 40, "I'll see you down the line"? He has yet to. There was the. There was the whole are you going to give me your soul kind of segment? But I was thinking a little further than that, though. Whether it's a one-on-one match or what, but yeah, and also he could come back and he could have some sort of bitter feelings toward Cody because Cena was his champion, yet he managed to get Cena back on the good side. So he could very well have ill feelings towards him on that one. But with that being said, we'll move on to our next one. We got another classic Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, so this one, I believe, wrapped up the Raw that night. Austin comes out in one of his typical vehicles. This time it's a beer truck. And he, it's obviously not, I believe it was just water and bubbles, really. But, they soak the corporation in beer. And Shane McMahon are all sliding around the ring. It was one of those things that, you'll never see it again because it was an Attitude Era thing. The closest thing we've gotten to it is Brock Lesnar lifting the ring with the forklift.
Yeah. And also, let's not forget, during that same era, the milk truck episode when when Kurt Angle pulled a Stone Cold on himself and sprayed them all with milk. That was pretty classic. That one was funnier. The Austin one, of course, was the original. But both of them classic moments, a staple moment in the Austin McMahon rivalry. And then for our last one, we're going to move on to ECW, classic ECW. John, take it away.
So this was right towards the end of ECW. I believe they lasted a couple more years past this, but Taz defeated Sabu, which retained his FTW title, which was self-crowned, I believe. And then Sabu at the time was the ECW World Heavyweight Champion. Sabu lost that championship. They unified the titles. I don't know if that was the way to go because I don't know if anybody, especially ECW fans, given that crowd, really looked at the FTW belt as something like, oh, this is just like Shane Douglas throwing down the NWA title years ago. I don't think it was the same weight as that.
Same weight as that, but it is worth noting they brought that championship back to to AEW. So there's that as well. It is a classic championship. I agree with you. It's one of those titles that never should have been taken seriously. That accidentally was. Because,
yeah, I mean, it was because of who it was, right? If it was a mid-carder where they're doing just like some storyline with it, you could see that it's gonna fade away. But because you did it with Taz, You know, it's kind of like when Michaels came back with the Dupe Intercontinental Championship. Well, because it's Michaels, we're gonna go ahead and go with it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a trophy, or how do I put this? So it's kind of like, okay, no matter, it's like in the NBA, right? Okay, it doesn't matter, well, it matters. MVPs matter, right? But for the longest time, who have they said has been the best player in the world for the last 20-something years? LeBron James, right? Some people might say Kevin Durant, but for by and large, it's been LeBron James. LeBron, didn't matter who won MVP, who was the best player? Michael Jordan, We can move it to the wrestling side. It doesn't matter, who was the champion or anything like that. Attitude Era, Austin. You can maybe say Rock. You can maybe say Triple H a little bit, but it's going to circle back to Austin, So at the time period, people may have felt, he may have garnered this himself, that may give him inspiration for the championship. No matter who's the ECW champion, a whole lot of the fan base value me as the best wrestler in the league. So, why not crown myself? They've already done it.
No, and that he would have those unsanctioned title defenses that would last like 5 seconds. He would choke the guy out right away. So they built it up the right way. Like, okay, he's not going to just lose this title. You're not even going to really get close to touching him. And then you had Sabu on the other side, obviously, who had been ECW, forever. And I believe this is maybe only his second time that he held the World Heavyweight Championship there. So I think that's the other reason I was surprised this went the other way, because just given his longevity there.
Right. No, absolutely. And you know what? I actually had just... So real quick, and I'm going to have to rewind back to the topics here. Before we get off the air, are we headed for a McIntyre Fatu Hell in a Cell match at Mania?
It seems that way, or at least the steel cage match. I would prefer that it's Hell in a Cell and we're not watching someone escape through the door, climb off the cage, or whatever the case may be. But it sure seems that way based on all the attacks and the fact that you can't contain these guys.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this would be the first Hell in a Cell at Mania in 10 years since since McMahon Undertaker, right?
I believe that's correct, and before that, I think wasn't it Triple H and Undertaker, the only other Hell in a Cell at Mania?
Yep, and you know what? There hasn't been that many Hell in a Cells at Mania, because I think the one before that was in 1999 when it was Undertaker Boss Man.
Yeah, they really, it's not on the Mania card a lot at all. I think, they're starting to realize now, especially since they've been in this 2-day thing now, like, you have to have a few more specialty matches, like the one-on-ones and the ones where we know there's going to be some sort of heel shenanigans are great, but the stipulations, you have to have those matches on 2-day cards.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is our show. Thanks everybody for tuning in for Top Rope Talk. Enjoy Monday Night Raw, enjoy AEW this week, and enjoy SmackDown, because we'll be right back around to talk about it on Monday. So, for the Numbers Don himself, I am Chapter 6, Mr. 6 o'clock, Denzel Snipes, and we'll see you next week. Peace.